Nigeria Country Director, Next Ford University, Olamidu Majekodumi. It's good to have you join me this morning.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's good to be here.
Great. Now, it is no longer news that COVID-19 has changed the way we do things, has changed the way we engage, even the way we travel and the way we perceive a lot of things. And if we narrow it down to the learning process, a lot of people didn't imagine that a lecturer will be in China, for instance, and have successfully a lecture with students in Lagos and all of that. Now, talk to us now that COVID-19 is easing gradually, but it's still there, but it's easing gradually. What are the things that things that have come to stay that we have to be conversant with?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. So several things, and I'll start with one, remote working.
Okay.
Even before we get to the learning side of things. So remote work was already trending in that direction. And by 2025, the remote work was going to rival traditional workplaces already, even prior to the pandemic. So what we've seen with the pandemic is that it's accelerated this trend. Now you're seeing, during the pandemic, everyone was at home. Everyone was relying on work tools that were, digitalized. Everyone was relying on communication with all their colleagues. You have colleagues in China, like you said, in Lagos, in London, in Mumbai, anywhere in the world, and you're working remotely. So now let's even take it down to remote learning, right? So online education. Even prior to the pandemic, I take the US for instance. There are about over 6 million university students that were studying online already, taking at least one course online. So we're already seeing these trends in that direction. And then here comes the pandemic, and nearly 100% of your university students are now studying online. So what the pandemic has done is it's accelerated these trends, and now we're almost forced to get used to it. And these trends are not going to reverse. Now that
they've come to stay.
They're here to stay, and we really just have to embrace it. And in many ways, it's a very positive change because, being able to rely on remote work and being able to be anywhere in the world, doesn't matter whether you're in Lagos or you're in Mumbai, you can work just as productively, and there's, time saving as well, So take me, for example, imagine I was commuting an hour to work, an hour back, in a city like Lagos. That's, an average time that someone would have to take to get to work. And, suddenly I'm saving 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week, right? I'm suddenly able to add 25% productivity into my workplace. Yeah, so it's a trend that we really should embrace, both in the workplace and both with learning and education.
Well, what do you think that like you use the word traditional workplace, where everyone is used to all employees coming to the workplace every morning and closing in the afternoon, or closing, depending on what shift you are in. What level or kinds of resistance do you think we're still going to have going forward? Because it's going to take some time for this to begin to, cascade and sink in.
Yeah. So I think from a leadership or management perspective, you still want your employees around you, right? You still want to have
give
that community feel. Exactly.
We're working.
And it does a lot to the culture as well. You want to know that they're really working.
Oh, yes.
But at the same time, it's a catch-22 because you almost can't avoid this trend, right? We just have to embrace it. So I think from a management perspective, the best thing that you can do now is to support your staff and support support your staff to be able to help them be more efficient and be more productive wherever they are. So your workplace or your work desk has gone from being, in an office from 9 to 5 for being, in your bathtub, if you wish. As long as you have your mobile phone or your laptop, you can work, just as much from there. So I think for employers, the best thing is to enable your staff, enable your community to be able to be just as productive, if not more productive. So, giving them good broadband internet access wherever they are, equipping them with the right communication tools that they can use to, still enforce that community feel and that culture.
For staff themselves who are the workers, what should they be looking at as a way of keeping up with the standards and benchmarks of the new norm or the new normal that has come to stay? What are the things they should be looking at to upgrade themselves?
This is a good one. Learning at your fingertips, right? And so for me as an employer, what I really dislike the most is when, your team comes to you with problems rather than solutions. And there's so many solutions out there. The internet is your best friend. Any kind of question that you have that you may have thought of, the answer, I'm sure, is somewhere within your fingertips or somewhere amongst the people in your network or around you. So I think that's one thing we need to, be able to rely on, is that information is out there. You just have to find it. So that's one thing I think staff can, go around and really find themselves. You can take classes, you can take skills training. Everything is digital at your fingertips. You can find lessons in anything. You can go on LinkedIn Learning. You can go on Lynda. You can go to Nextford. And you can take training courses in anything that you wish. And you can do so independently. You can do so in a flexible way on your own time. To be able to add back to your workplace.
Oh, okay. Now you made reference to the United States earlier on, when you were talking about the number of people who take online learning and all of that, and right now that has even increased, and the proportion has also, or the scope has gone beyond the shores of the United States, where people from different parts of the world are enrolling for different kind of courses. But let's narrow it down to Nigeria, and you are here. How close to achieving that are we, or how very far away are we?
From achieving 100% online?
When it comes to appreciable level of people, of that online working and online learning and the online life generally.
Yeah, I would say the market is far ahead than we think. Of course, again, being accelerated by COVID, but I think the challenge that we have here in Nigeria is regulatory. So we don't have the framework to really accredit fully 100% online programs in Nigeria. And I think that's what's going to hold us back. I think we're years, maybe even up to a decade away from that, being able to accredit and manage this type of education delivery. But from the private sector side of things, I think we're way ahead. I think consumers and students, potential students, can already decipher. They can already decide what they want, and they're already gravitating towards these trends. Take for example, Nigeria is one of the largest markets when it comes to exporting our education, right? So you find Nigerians in every part of the world, pursuing higher education learning. And during the pandemic, you can't travel, like you would have. You can't get visas. Things are getting more and more expensive. So now what are you going to do? You're going to access your education online. Someone that lives here in Nigeria can, go to university in the Philippines or university in the US and attend that university online. And so that's the trend that you're finding now, and it's becoming more and more accepted. And I think what's driving that acceptance is private sector, right? So employers are seeing those degrees, they are approving of it, they're finding that, learners that are graduating from top quality online programs really are, they do have what it takes. They're equipped with the, the kinds of skills and the discipline and time management skills that you would have, been able to achieve with these kinds of programs.
Besides that, what if we flip it? We all know that it's really interesting when we talk about the online life and all of those, make things easier. But what are the challenges also of that online, either work or learning? What are the other side of it? What are the low sides of it?
So, and I'll say it from, back to the Nigeria perspective on a micro level. The downside is we'd need to almost do an upskill training first, for a lot of our Nigerian high school leavers to be able to embrace technology and get used to learning online, away from a physical community, where 100% of your learning is delivered online. That's the only small drawback I can think of, but it's not worth the major drawbacks if we don't embrace it. And why I say that is right now in Nigeria, we have a shortage of about 1.5 million university seats. 1.5, and that means, with all the universities that we have in Nigeria, both public and private, we don't have enough seats to meet the demand. And we can't build brick and mortar universities fast enough. So we did the research once, and it was like we would literally need to build a physical university at least every week, at least one every week, in order to meet the demand. And of course, we know what our spiking population is looking like. So we need to leapfrog, right? By 2040, the largest labor force in the world will be in Africa, and that's driven largely by Nigeria and a lot of other sub-Saharan African countries as well. So already we're at a shortage, and we know we're already spiking in terms of our population growth. So we really need to leapfrog and get to that promised land faster. And the only way we can do that is through online education, right? Because it's scalable. There's no barriers. You can be literally anywhere in the world and have access to high quality education. You can do it at an affordable cost because you're taking out all the cost of running the facilities, and you're just focusing on instructional costs, right? So you can offer it at a cheaper price. So really, that's the only option that we have in order to deliver fast, deliver scale, and deliver quality.
Okay, we have to leave it here now. Thank you so much, Olamido Majekodunmi, for coming on the program. You are the country director, Nextford University. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.